delay on stream, so if you count it down, I can't.
Just go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is episode 2. You are listening to Two Broken Escalators podcast, where me, co-host Kyle, and my friend Noble, co-host,
Hello.
talk about anything and everything. So in advance, thank you for listening. If you're just stopping in, we appreciate that. And let's get right into it.
Let's talk about racial minorities. How's your week been going? How's your week been going since the last podcast?
Yeah, so I had an interesting weekend. I wanted to tell you this, but I figured we'd
say it for the podcast because we don't even talk anymore.
Yeah, well, we don't have time. We're busy people. So I was supposed to go to Jersey for a card tournament.
Oh yeah, you were.
I don't know how it was. How was the weather out in by you Saturday? I don't know, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm East Coast and Noble's West Coast, so managing the time difference is a little weird. But, how was the weather by you?
It was, say, cold one day, but it was mostly nice, like 60, just nice.
Oh,
and
like every day in California?
like every day. And for those of you that don't know, the card tournament he was going to was Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, so I'll spare the details because that's not important. But I was supposed to go basically sell a bunch of cards. I was supposed to get a good amount of money for it, and I planned it out. I was going to leave the morning of. I had to go probably around 8 o'clock if I wanted to get there at a good time. And I woke up and it was pouring rain. I was like, all right, maybe I'll let it calm down. I'll go a little later because I didn't have to be there at a certain time. It runs all day. And I waited till like 2-3 o'clock, still pouring rain. I was like, you know what? Sunday's a better day. I can do it Sunday. It's like, I just gotta be home for dinner. I just had plans around 6 o'clock. So I'll do the same thing. I'll get up early. I checked the weather. The weather showed it was gonna be fine. And I wake up even worse than the day before. Like, you gotta be kidding me. So I was like, I'll wait out again a little bit, see what happens, and it just stayed crappy all day. I was like, all right, it's not meant to be. I won't go to Jersey this weekend. And it actually turned out to be a saving grace because they were at max capacity starting at Saturday morning. They weren't taking any more people registering into the arena. It's like, wow, I would have driven. It's probably like I would have driven like an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours to get there. Like, you know how traffic is. Like, you have it by you too, I'm sure. It would have been sitting in traffic for an hour just to get denied and have to turn back around.
That would be a motherfucker. Because you would have called me too. Let me tell you about my weekend.
Yeah, so it was a blessing in disguise, but I wish I could have known that beforehand. So that was my weekend. Kind of just sitting inside the crappy weather.
Sounds like a good weekend to me, dog.
I don't do much anymore, so I try to get out when I can.
Fair enough.
But during the week was nothing crazy. What about you?
I think I'll get to the good news after. You really do look like Andre the Giant. People are gonna think that you're actually 6'5". It was just. Oh yeah, my birthday was Saturday.
Oh,
Didn't do anything for my birthday. Just worked. The past week just worked on videos. I worked on videos on stream today. Editing practice, more Photoshop work, writing scripts, but advertising, a lot of advertising. But this all leads to very fantastic news. My Twitch video, as I'm sure some of you have seen in here, I'm sure you've seen, Kyle, hit over 1,000 views last night, which is something that I'm just...
The Twitch or the YouTube video?
The YouTube Twitch video hit over 1,000 views last night. Something that I'm just absolutely stoked about because I had believed that it was good content. I truly believed that it was good content. I just thought that I had to get to the right eyes. I don't know if I have to keep sharing it, but it's like at 1,200 right now, so it's still been gradually climbing. Get a few new subscribers in there, and then they're checking out my other videos, sharing those videos elsewhere. It's it's a really nice reassurance to know that the work that been putting in, the time that I've been putting in, is being rewarded by people liking. Thanks, Eric. Has been rewarded by people liking what I do, and that means a lot to me.
Mm.
To know, like, it's as simple as a share or a view, or people are posting on Reddit and offering discussion to what I'm doing. That means a whole heck of a lot to me. To know that
Sure.
that I am providing content for people and it's creating a topic and creating a discussion. So with that being said about my week, that leads me to my next topic, which is something I discussed earlier. I am not so happy with the views. I think that it will keep being more successful. I will keep advertising it. I think it will keep bringing people in. I am more happy knowing that I put 50 hours into that video, that I wanted to pull out my hair the entire time, that it took 3 weeks to make, that I had to write and edit and record everything by myself, and I got the product that, let's say, I near desired, because I'm kind of a douche perfectionist and it's impossible to get things the way that I want to get them.
You've always been that way. Yeah.
A douche or a perfectionist?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So, giving it more thought, thinking about the journey, like, I see a current rate of success for myself. I see the videos transitioning to helping the stream, transitioning into helping the Discord. I see growing the community more, being able to interact with people. And then I know where the end result is going to be. But I'm kind of just enjoying the work in between. And I think that's something that a lot of people might lack, or a lot of people might not want to appreciate. But if I'm working 10 hours a day, 5-6 days a week, like 60 hours a week, it's a motherfucker. But I'm able to do it because I love what I'm doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a passion project, and I'm slightly crazy. Well, more than slightly, but yeah.
Well, it's good because the hard work will carry over to whatever else you decide to do. You know, you have the work ethic. You just apply that to whatever else you want to try and do.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hardest part. As long as you're disciplined, you could really figure out anything else. I mean, you may not be great at it, but
Whoa.
no,
I
if
just
you wanted
fucking.
to try something else, yeah. I mean, I'm sure the first time you started doing videos, you weren't good.
Hey, come on, man.
Look, I'm sure you've gotten better, but
The,
like I didn't see the first video you made however many years ago, or
the
you know.
first piece of video content I ever made was me fat and shirtless, 10 years old, hanging out with my friend at the time, Lucas, and just breaking Legos. Needless to say, we should have been a million view channel, but like, I guess the algorithms didn't work that way back then. But to your point, I think that too much information, not enough. I think it's about more so discipline, like you had said, than motivation. I don't think that you can wake up every morning. It's a video that I'd seen a few years ago by Bernie Burns, the former CEO of Rooster Teeth. He had said that I don't believe in motivation because you can't just wake up and find the drive to do something. It starts with whatever goals you set for yourself that morning and knowing that you need to get to work. A man is not somebody that just decides that he's going to pick it up one day and start to take care of things. A man, which I'm trying to be, would be someone that's like, okay, I have my chores that I need to do today, I have my errands I need to do today, or I have work that I need to get to. So when you go to bed at night, you specifically, you know that you're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to get ready, however long that takes, you're going to drive to work, you're going to work your day, and then you're going to have your fun after. For me, it's getting up, taking care of what I need to take care of, making my bed, brushing my teeth, just getting in that rhythm, and then understanding that I'm going to have to work that day. And that's discipline. That's setting disciplinary goals for yourself rather than just waking up one day and being like, I hope I find it, because you're not going to find any success with that mindset. You can't just hope to
I
find
agree,
it.
yeah.
It's something that you actively It's like a lot of rappers always say, "On that grind, yo, what's up, scissor?"
I mean, you don't
That's
have to say it like that, but yeah.
that's a much more generalized and dumbed down version of the idea. But life, reality, is disciplinary and it's a grind. Damn, that was like,
Well, which kind of sucks, right? You think about it, like
I was specifically pointing to
for
Kyle Eric.
people that aren't guaranteed um anything in life, right? Like you're not guaranteed anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're not guaranteed tomorrow, right? You're not given anything for the most part. Some people are given everything, silver spoon and all. But I feel like people just take their time for granted, right? Like time is the most important thing we have, and people just. I mean, I've definitely been that way. I've wasted so much time. I'm sure you have too. Just stupid things that completely meaningless. You'll never remember, and don't bring you happiness. But
To interject, I can name all the time I've wasted. There's females. I can literally, I have names for them.
besides that, I wouldn't say it's time wasted. I'd say those are learning
Right.
experiences, though.
Yeah, it's a learning experience. Just teasing.
Um, but if you're not trying to progress your physical well being, your mental well being, you know, what are you doing? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of mental illness
Mm-hmm.
that plays into effect here, but you could just waste so much time, and you're not getting time back. Like you're given what you're given, and that's it. You don't. There's no guarantee of an afterlife. No one's ever gonna know.
I think that is a very harsh realization
Yeah, that's very blunt.
within within our modern society, within our culture, at least over here in the States. I don't know how it is across the world. I know at least in the Asian countries that you often go to school and then get a job and you live with your family for a while. And then even when you get married, you might still live with your family until you're ready to move out. In the US specifically, you hit 18 years old and just like figure it the fuck out. And I wholeheartedly do not agree with that. I hope that I'm able to give a different transition to my kids because nobody tells you from the time that you're 15 to 16 to 17. It's like, it's coming. You need to be aware, maybe start working, start taking better care of your health, start exercising a little bit. Like, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Excuse me. But as soon as you hit 18, it's like someone just takes this big weight of responsibility, the fact that your actions have effects now, the fact that you're an adult, and they just put it on you and say, figure it out. Because you obviously at 18 years old, you can still live with your parents, but there's a huge distinction between being a minor, 17 and under, and being an adult. It quite literally changes your life. It changes how people view you. It changes the fact that you can vote. I think they're changing cigarettes to 21 in the States, but used to be able to smoke cigarettes at 18 for many, many years. You're eligible to be drafted for the army when you're still pissing your pants at 18. Your brain isn't even there yet, and you were just thrown into it, which is something that we had discussed a little bit earlier, which is a fantastic transition. Just pat myself on the back a little bit for this one, which is why I don't think that kids, I still consider people kids when they're 18. Oh yeah, they're legally an adult. You're still a kid. You're still a kid until you're about like 23ish.
You're mentally a child.
Yeah.
23, like depending on your life situation.
You're still a kid. So when you're 18 years old, I think that's why kids are trying so hard to figure themselves out. Take a gap year. Take time. Take care of yourself. Take a gap year. I think that a large percentage of kids should. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's not really. Well, what we were talking about earlier, the thing I disagree with was, um, I don't remember exactly what the context of the conversation was, but we were talking about going to school. Not going to school if you don't know what to do, I think was the statement.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which probably with the prices where they are now is fair advice. State schools aren't that expensive. Community colleges aren't expensive. You could easily pay them off working a part-time job.
To
You could barely
interject
pay
just for
for
a
your
moment,
loans.
I think that argument has a better base if you're referring to only universities. If you're saying community college, because a lot of people that I know do community college and work a job at the same time, and that's how they
Yeah.
get through it.
Okay. Yeah. If you're saying just go to a university or private school where you're going to be over 100K in debt when you come out,
Mm-hmm.
if you shouldn't do that if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But there's plenty of colleges that are cheap enough. There are plenty of state schools or state universities, like that you would pay state tuition for, that you could pay working a part-time job. I didn't get any money to go to college. I went to a state school, graduated in 4 years, and paid off my loans in 2.5 years. Working full time as soon as I graduated college, and I've been working full time ever since. Been almost 5 years since I graduated now.
Excuse me.
And it'll be about 5 years since I graduated. In like 4 months, it'll be about
Oh, that's.
yeah.
Oh.
And I paid off my loans like 2 years ago, just working a full time job.
I think part of that is upbringing as well. I think that you were very fortunate to have the work ethic instilled in you by your parents. I have a lot of respect for both your parents. I think your parents are ballers. I think they did a good job. The fact that you still have like crippling hentai addiction, though, that's pretty rough. I don't know where.
Well, that's not their fault. Let's not blame them.
I don't know why you like abusive women. That's I don't know what went wrong there.
That's not their fault. I accept full responsibility for my actions.
I think that
I was someone who I
Go ahead.
went to school not knowing what I wanted to do, and I had 3 different majors. I tried different classes. I did all the gen eds. I didn't find anything I liked, but I ended up graduating because I would have ran out of baseball eligibility, and me going to college without devoting a lot of time to something like baseball would have just been like a bad decision. I would just have way too much time on my hands. I could have been like a league pro or something, and that's just we don't want that. So I just wanted to graduate on time, and then criminal justice degree was pretty easy. Not saying criminal justice people are stupid, but the courses are certain.
I am. I'm saying. To the point that we were talking about, where your parents are ballers. I think I touched on this a little bit in the last podcast, but most people shouldn't have animals, let alone children, because it's such an absolutely massive amount of responsibility and money invested into a person. And to teach someone how to be a person, teach you a little ball of goo how to be a person, and then to touch back what I said earlier. I've had this conversation with my dad many times before, and he always brings it up to me because it's about your brain. They say that your brain doesn't fully form until you're 25 years old, so I still got a ways to go. But I specifically said to him when I was about 16 years old, and maybe it's repressing stuff. Oh, let's fucking talk about it. This isn't a therapy session. Before I was 12 or 13 years old, like, I wasn't relevant. I didn't really exist. Like, how much do you take the consideration of a 12-year-old's opinion into effect? They don't have absolutely any idea how anything works. They don't know what it means to be truly sympathetic or truly empathetic or truly work hard for something or truly have to take care of themselves or somebody else. So then when you start hitting that age where your brain starts coming together, you start hitting puberty, things start forming. For women, they're thinking about their body changing and so many things are going on, and then they start getting ideas of world news and politics, and all these things are going on. And for men, they just want to hum stuff and they want to figure out how they can do it. So to make that transition from being like, oh, girls are gross, and did you see that thing I sent you the other day where girls brainwashed us?
No, I didn't. Where'd you send it to me?
the joke was that women brainwashed us from an early age. Women always have had cooties, and we've always had to deal with their shit. The only difference is whenever we hit 13 years old, they poison us with hormones, so we want to have sex with them and continue to deal with their shit.
That's good.
But regardless, that was just a quick little tangent on how I feel about the growth of let's say because young men and young women are entirely separate in their growth. Raising a daughter, it's ooh, that's a whole different idea for a different time, and I'll get there when I get there.
Well, I actually had a question going off of that today that I wanted to ask you. Do you plan on having kids?
100%.
How many?
65.
Or is it just like a day-to-day basis or month-to-month basis?
It's something that I think about pretty actively, honestly, because I
Which you
didn't
should.
I didn't grow up too close to my dad, and I had thought
I
about.
get
See, I'm laughing because it's painful. I'm trying to mask the tears.
There we go. That's what this is for.
I think about what my parents did wrong and how I can be more successful with them. And I had this conversation with my brother recently. We were sitting at the bar for my grandma's 90th birthday. We were talking about our parents, and I was like, I don't know. I'm not upset at them anymore. Like they still find ways to upset me and annoy me, and they don't understand me because it's different generations, but they tried their best. Like, what can you really do? I think it's my job as their child to try and wean out the bullshit more. And I think that's everyone as a child, because if you look back, how old are your parents, if you don't mind me asking? I think our parents are like the exact same age.
Yeah. My mom is 63. My dad is. He's born in 61. So
I remember your dad being younger.
59?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or 58. He's turned 59 this year.
So we think about their generation. We think about how they grew up and how they were raised to be, where black men and women were not treated the same as they were, where their parents, they would hear their parents still, like friends of their parents, might still be hitting their wives. Like that was a normal thing to do just
sure.
a few generations ago. You take it back even further, women weren't even
worse and worse.
Yeah, you just keep going back further. Women weren't even relevant people. You get into non-polygamous relationships, keeps going back further and further, and just like shitty people. So we, as a newer generation, I feel like have to, again, wean out all the bullshit, which leaves me with what I want to do for having kids. And it's one of the nicest compliments I can receive, because people ask me often if I think about having kids. They tell me they think that I'll be a really good father, and that means the world to me, because I'm going to really aspire to be a good father. But there's different goals that I have in mind for what it means to be a good father. Like, obviously I want to teach them the ropes, play catch with them or whatever. Not baseball, because that's a girl sport. But just make them feel loved. Make sure, if you translate it to so many people that don't have it in the world, make sure the kids feel loved. Make sure they have a warm place to sleep. Make sure they have food in their fridge. Those three things can, because it's not something that I necessarily always had when I was growing up. Those things can go for miles and miles and miles.
Yeah, I think it's important. Like you should want to teach your kid to wean out the bullshit of our generation. Like be better than we were, you know? Because obviously, in the future, we're going to see.
I'll get to that in a second, Eric. I agree with that.
The way we do, and it's only going to be worse and worse. But you have to teach them to be open-minded and to think on their own, which is really not easy.
Which relates to what I was saying earlier. For the first 13 years of your life, your parents are gods. You don't understand what life is like without them, and then you figure out just one day it kind of clicks. They have no idea what they're doing, And someday
Oh, yeah.
you're going to be in their shoes and have absolutely no idea what you're doing.
Well, first is a step where you're like, when I get into their position, I have to know all this, and then you get a little, then you're like, oh, I don't. I just have to pretend I do,
Yeah.
and
That's
that's it.
that was because it's not something you can teach, and you can tell your kids that too. Like when you hit a certain age, every adult is just pretending they know what's going on. The only reason, like, we want to cry and break down all the time and be like, this sucks.
Yeah, like, oh, I don't want to go to work.
Yeah, the only reason we do it is because we want to find that success and we want to have families and we want to keep supporting our significant others, and that's kind of what being an adult is. It's like a life in general. I mean, it's a shit sandwich, but do you want, like, you want to be eating a shit sandwich forever? Everyone, well, not everyone, excuse me, because people are much more privileged than other people. Let's say a general population is given the same responsibility, the same tasks, the same upbringing. When they all hit a certain age, they have to figure it out for themselves. And everyone in life is just trying to figure out how to eat less of the shit sandwich, or put some goddamn hot sauce on it, or get some different bread. Like, everyone is trying to struggle and figure out
Another
something
means
different.
to chasing that bread.
Yeah, 100%. So then, to take that back to, do I want to have kids? Fuck yeah, I want to have kids. And Eric brought up in the chat about having a girl, because one of my buddies that I play Apex with has a young daughter. And I said, what are you going to do when it comes to boys? He said, I'll get there when I get there. From the moment I have a girl, I'm going to lay in bed every night just holding on to my knife or my gun, thinking like, if any fucking boys come here in 15 years asking her to dance, I'm going to snap.
I mean, I'm sure you think that at first, but I feel like that's kind of an old school mentality that'll fade. I feel like it'll be like, if someone makes her happy, good, keep them around. If not, don't go near her. You know, it's just gonna be like, whatever you can do to see her happy, you'll do.
Yeah. Unless that involves, she can be a lesbian. That's fine. I'll be okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to beat up another girl, but if she's going to like boys, then I don't know. Maybe you got to murder a few people. That's fine, right? That's normal. That's normal. That's a normal thing to think.
Oh, I got a message from Twitch. You're getting put down. Sorry. Threatening the lives of 15-year-old boys.
That's our entire community.
Oh, man. They said you're promoted.
That's funny. Speaking of thoughts that you're not supposed to have you ever had a conversation with your girl, or with, I wouldn't do it with my mom, maybe with one of your sisters, about intrusive thoughts and how women just don't have them?
I've what? No.
I mean, have you?
Intrusive thoughts?
Do you not know what an intrusive thought is?
Like a thought that jumps into your mind when you thinking like disrupts you.
It's like when you're at the grocery store and there's a woman in line in front of. I know that you think like this all the time because you were just talking shit today, and you're a terrible person. Absolutely terrible person. All right.
About what?
Brag about it. If you're in line at the grocery store and there's a woman in front of you saying like, "Oh, I'd like deli meat. Oh, not that deli meat. Oh, I want that deli meat," and the immediate thought that pops into your mind is that you're gonna give her a mean left hook, and then you're gonna put her there with the rest of the deli meat. So you're laughing because it's true.
Okay, it depends on the situation.
But that's not something. I mean, of course, it depends on the situation. You're not going to get like the intrusive thoughts all the time.
Yeah.
But that's not
A
something.
lot of the time. A lot of the time. Especially every time. Actually, I don't even know if I can say this, but
You can say it because everyone has. All guys have them.
no, it's not even like it's just like a mean thing. Like whenever I'm waiting for like the train or the subway, I just think like, what if someone just next to me just like pushes someone else onto the tracks, like as the train's coming in?
Yeah, women don't think like that at all.
Really?
Yeah, I had just found that out within like because
every single time the train passes, I think
100%, 100%. Women don't think like that at all. I think about it relatively casually. And I just found this out recently because I was so afraid, like, when they start happening with puberty, basically, when you're like around 16 years old, you start wanting to fuck everything, and you're like, can I fuck that? Well, I don't want to fuck that. Well, that'll hurt, but I might try and fuck it anyway. And then you start translating that to like, oh, well, how much is this going to hurt me if I jump in? And then your thoughts getting more wild.
Yeah, right.
So I was listening to a podcast recently, and they're talking about, yeah, women don't have those thoughts at all. Like, what do you mean women don't have those thoughts? And this one of their wives is like, I just don't think about that type of stuff. I'm scared about. That'll be a different story for a different time. Yeah, so like when I'm driving, when I'm in the car going down the freeway, it's like if these people don't hurry up, like what if I don't know, what if a dinosaur just started attacking them? Like a normal thing to think. But then women are like, "Oh my god, why would you say that?" I don't know, Sheila, maybe we need a new plague. You ever think about that? Maybe if we got a new plague, I don't have to fucking wait behind you at the goddamn deli aisle.
God, no, the other meat. No, I'm gonna smack you. Not really, but mm, it's a subtle difference. It's abuse, discipline. Gotta make sure you know the difference.
Yeah, the coronavirus is here to
Keep you out of prison.
Yeah, well, that you would know.
I love Corona, so hopefully I don't get that virus. Did you know that people actually believe they stopped drinking Coronas because that's what they believe it's from?
Is it all white women?
What?
That'd be a white thing to stop. Like, you know how whenever
it's like frat guys.
Oh yeah, it's yeah. Yeah. Whenever a disease comes around that can commonly harm the white man, it's like whenever we get a disease in cantaloupe, like don't eat cantaloupe, or we always have recalls on iceberg lettuce for some reason.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing, right?
Always on lettuce, we always have recalls on lettuce. Like all this lettuce has salmonella in it. Don't get it. It's like, how much raw chicken are you letting, or how are you just letting your salamanders run around in our giant stock of lettuce? Like, what are you thinking here?
I just picture like a big warehouse packed to the brim with lettuce, like
And salamanders
got in, shut it down.
It's like how, and then they don't wash it. I don't know, but that's it. That's a white person thing to think like that.
So I think we can move on to the biggest news of the week, probably.
You're gay?
The shocking. No. The shocking. Probably most shocking news of 2019 and 2020. That Kobe Bryant was killed in the crash.
I'm going to run to grab something really quickly if you'd like to give the viewers a quick rundown.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we go straight to the point here, Eric. I'm sure everyone and their mothers heard, but he he frequently took helicopters to his games, and even after he retired, he took the helicopter. I saw pretty much, frequently, and he was actually in a helicopter that crashed, killing him and his daughter, and I think it was 7 other people. It was 9 total. It's crazy, sad, especially for someone who just recently retired, was going to be Hall of Fame, one of the biggest names in basketball history. It's scary thought, but are you back? I want to hear your thoughts about this being someone from California.
Have you gotten into how much it's affected you as an individual?
Person? Like
Yeah, like you as an individual, how much has this affected you?
It like nothing in my specific life is going to change, but I feel terrible for his family. Like he was a big family guy, and that was known. But I mean, I hate that it was such like a tragic incident, that it wasn't just like I mean, he wasn't a bad guy, so nothing could happen to him with like drugs or anything. But that's usually a celebrity death. You hear like drugs or drug driving, or but he was just literally on a helicopter ride, which he did a lot. And for someone as iconic, it's pretty much like if Derek Jeter would have passed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought of it. Like, how
That's
would
the
I feel
relation to your coast would be if Derek
yeah,
Jeter passed.
that's what I tried to think of, and it was like, how would I feel if he passed? And then it would be terrible. It would upset me for a long time.
It's incredible the effect that it's had over here. Like to I to give perspective, uh, my mom's side of the family grew up in LA, so they were all Lakers fans their entire life. I go to LA frequently to infrequently to visit family. I live within 2 hours of LA, so like everyone around here, if you like basketball, you're a Lakers fan and you probably have a Kobe jersey.
For sure.
The the feeling in the air, because he was an absolute global superstar.
Yeah, I had a jersey of him growing up.
The feeling in the air was that it was just wrong. Like this did not seem like something that could happen. Kobe Bryant was a superhero. He he did such great work for the game of basketball, and he changed so many lives, and so many people looked up to him. So many young men and women looked up to him and who he was as an individual to grow themselves and to grow the game that they loved. And even after basketball, because he played for one team for 20 years. He was the Los Angeles Lakers. He was the hero. I believe he got drafted by Charlotte, but got traded to the Lakers immediately. I don't know. And then he was transitioning to business. I was just listening to something recently to where people were saying that he would call up multi-billion-dollar company CEOs at 2 a.m. and be texting them all night because he was translating to business. He just had an Oscar short animated. Like, he's one of those people, and you hear about his work ethic all the time too. He's just one of those people that was a different breed. He was a different type of human, and his work within the community, his work for the game of basketball, his work as a person to inspire people like he did. It's I'm not one to often get upset over celebrity deaths. I hold musicians very dearly, so when they pass, it's difficult for me.
Oh yeah, if John Mayer ever passes, you won't see me for a week.
Yeah, so someone that I didn't know, but it's someone that I very highly respected.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't given myself a mourning period for it yet because I've just been working. But it's to see someone in the prime of their life, someone that I held so much respect for that I would have loved to have met someday, and then seeing the effect that it had on my immediate family. Like, my mom was absolutely broken down in tears because that was one of her heroes growing up. Everybody knew Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant it's not just a name that you know. Kobe is an adjective. It's a lifestyle. People would wear his jerseys and try and replicate his game. And every time you walked up to a trash can with crumpled up paper, it's Kobe. You
still gotta yell it out.
Still gotta yell it out. So it's a very unfortunate loss, and very unfortunately, his daughter passed as well as another family. Kobe is the big news, but it's very unfortunate that his daughter passed only 13 years old. She still had her entire life ahead of her. It's never cool when young people passed. Not even translating, not even just this event, but translating across the world. Just it's very unfortunate when young men and women pass because they are our future. And I wouldn't try and butcher the name right now. I don't know it off the top of my head, but another family passed as well that was with him. I believe he was a local softball coach there. So,
The other family, actually, the father was the softball coach was the woman who
okay.
um I think she was actually, I don't know if she was by herself or with a friend, but she was married and her husband and 3 kids are left behind now. Um, he was actually a baseball coach in upstate New York that my assistant coach knows.
Mm.
He coached with him, my old assistant coach. So that's how I initially found out was he tweeted about like all the news that happened, and then like said like Kobe, and then also my friend or whatever. I was like, "What is this true?" Like, I didn't believe it when I first saw it, but then more and more news outlets started tweeting it, putting it on online on news outlets, and
It's one of those things that
it was
like
crazy.
you can't believe it. It's just it's just absolutely so crazy. But may their souls rest. May they be in a better place to everybody that died in such a tragedy. It's very unfortunate. And
Yeah, if there's anything to take away, I think it's like Derek Jeter actually put up a post about how he'll remember him for the conversations he had talking about their families. Like every time their daughters were born, they'd talk, and how they talk to each other about their work ethic within their sport.
yeah,
But he's like, they pretty much never talked to each other about the games they were playing or anything. They just talked family, which I think is awesome.
I think that's something to take away is maybe hug your mom just a little bit tighter after today, or I don't know, maybe call someone and tell them that you love them. His life is unfortunately very fragile, and
Do you have Emily's number?
we as humans need these reminders.
I couldn't help it.
We as humans need these reminders, these very fortunate reminders once in a while that life is fragile, and
Very.
it's nice just to love people once in a while. Everyone's going through their own shit.
Ugh, yeah.
So, to transition to a little bit of a softer note after that unfortunate, unfortunate conversation. To touch on what you said, Eric, in the chat, I think that a handful of us will, but I think a good majority of people won't. It's how I feel about certain deaths, like Chris Cornell, the lead singer of Audioslave and Soundgarden, and Tom Petty from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and Tom Petty's own fame. It's something that still sits in me and something that I haven't fully accepted. But I think that's part of life and part of their legacy is that we still think about them. We still appreciate what they did, or we still listen to their music, we still consume their form of media. It's that life is so fast and there's so many things to distract you that maybe once in a while it's nice to just sit down and think and not forget about people. Transitioning to a lighter note, getting a new phone,
Oh, you are?
Samsung Galaxy S10e.
Ooh, S10e. Oh, that's the one you were asking me about.
Yeah, it's just the miniature version of the S10, I guess. I don't know. It's like 0.3 inches less of screen. 0.3 inches don't matter. It's only 0.3 inches less. They don't matter.
Yeah, size doesn't matter, right? Oh, okay, it looks exactly like the other ones.
Yeah. Uh, I've had an iPhone 6s since I was 18 years old. I'm 23 now. I had just cracked it 2 days ago.
I mean, if we're being honest, I also had a 6S until I was like 20, 21, 22.
It's not the fact that I had a 6S. It's just the fact that I had the same phone for the last 5 or 6 years, and I just cracked it the other day, which is something I hold great pride with
I
because
didn't crack mine ever. I lost it, but I didn't crack it.
anything could have happened to it. It could even be cracked.
I dropped it in a foot and a half of snow when I was walking back inebriated one night.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Did you try calling it?
It was like 4 a.m.
Uh,
I tried digging for like an hour, but my hands had frostbite, and I went back the next day and I was like, "Do you have a shovel?" I'm like, who are you? I just want to like look for my phone. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning.
what was I going to say? Yeah, I dropped this phone many times, and it finally dropped it like 3 feet down. It slipped out of the case because my case is broken on the bottom, so my phone can slide straight through. This is actually just like absolute shambles of what used to be an honor box.
Oh my god!
It's certainly a
Where's the
mess.
plastic protection.
Crumbled 2 years ago, I think. So this phone and this little plastic case has been a warrior for me.
Breaking too, if you could see it. This part already broke off. This part already broke off. So I'll figure it out eventually.
It's such a bother to get a new phone case.
I mean, I get them for free at my old job, but like I don't want to do that.
Go see Emily.
You're right. It's an excuse.
Rough.
Yeah, rough life.
Oh, so
But that's just showbiz.
That's show business, baby. So, in more traditional, popular news, actually, before I get to the next subject, do you care about the Grammys?
No. Although I did see Tyler the Creator stirred up some drama.
What he said was true.
I didn't see what he said. All I know is that he stirred up drama.
He said that why does everyone that's black that wants to go out of rap get nominated for a rap album? Because Tyler the Creator,
nominated for rap album.
Yeah, he won Rap Album of the Year.
Oh really?
For Igor. Have you listened to it? Do you listen to Tyler the Creator?
No.
It's not rap.
I mean, I figured.
Not rap. It's like how every music is fitting in their own genre. It's like, well, he was very cordial about it. He said, on one hand, I'm very grateful that I was recognized for this, but I don't want to be recognized for only rap because him, Brockhampton, Joji, Rich Brian, those are all non-traditional, not white, and they're kind of rappers, not rappers, but they're trying to branch out into other genres. And what he was saying is like, why can't it be called pop whenever I do it? Why does he say, he says, why do people like me, people who look like thugs, which, and then he just went on to say, is the media's way of saying the N-word, thugs.
Yeah.
He said, why do people who look like me that want to branch out into different facets still get called rappers? Because do you follow what he does? Like anything that he does?
I know like some of his old stuff.
All right, Eric, have a lovely rest of your night, my guy.
Did you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes, I did. It's not just like his music in general. Him and Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, are both.
I know more of his stuff.
Are both huge inspirations to me because it's not just music with them. It's music, it's clothing, it's media across the board. It's television, it's movies, it's directing, it's acting. Like, have you ever seen Loiter Squad, Tyler the Creator show?
No.
It's like Jackass, but Sam and his friends, they just do dumb shit all the time. It's really funny. You've seen the Eric Andre show, so it's similar to that.
Yeah,
you would like that.
I pictured it as.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a little bit of drama stirred up, but I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. It's not like a white woman complaining who finds a way to complain about everything. Would you ever date a white woman again while we're on the topic?
I was actually thinking about this literally on the car ride home. That's weird that you bring that up.
I know you.
Well, So the thing I think of is say I did end up single again. No matter who I decide to date, there's gonna be a racist joke to follow from someone in my friend group or family.
What do you
And
mean?
it's gonna be if
I
it
wouldn't.
says like,
I wouldn't make jokes like that. It's not me. I don't like jokes.
"Oh, not you, but other friends." I mean, I can joke with anything. I really don't mind. But I'm just saying, I know they're coming. Um, if I do go back to dating someone who's not Asian, it's, oh, you tried it and didn't like it, huh? Or like, oh, you might go back to it. You usually get hungry after an hour. Some stupid like,
That's really funny. I'm gonna use that.
okay, fair enough. But if I do go back to it, oh, it's like, oh, once you got a taste, you can't go back, right? It's stuck with yellow fever. I'm just like, you could do better. Like I thought of that in 2 seconds. You can't think of something better.
I got
So,
nothing.
so like, no matter what I decide after, there's gonna be backlash. And I'm just
have
like,
you
I just don't have
dated?
the energy for that.
Have you dated a lot of white women? Is that the majority for you?
That's the majority, yeah.
I think I've chased after or been in talks with Asian women the most, but I have dated white women the most, and it's never been successful.
They're very, very different.
It has never been successful for me to date a white woman.
Yeah, I think your personality aligns more with
What are you trying to say? The lower class? Are you calling me poor?
no, aligns more with an Asian person's ideals of what they think a relationship should be. I think your personality fits better into those ideals. Not that you should mold yourself into their idea, but
Elaborate on
for
that, because I'm confused on what you mean.
so I think what your role or you believe your role in the relationship obviously coincides with your personality, like everyone's would. You don't have a choice. It's just how you act.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that fits more with a stereotypical Asian culture's idea of a relationship. And now that changes from every country, and Asia is obviously very different. But I think if you take like the general idea of what a boyfriend should be in Asian culture, it would fit how you would act in that relationship. And that's not an insult at all. It's
I'm not
more just
taking
an
it as such.
observation. Yeah, okay. But
I'd like you to elaborate on that more, though, so I can
I,
pick your mind.
yeah, well, I think there's one important distinction to make. I think an Asian who was born in America is very different from one who traveled here.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they act and the way they're brought up is very different, especially if their second or even third generation is pretty much just like, you're American. That's it. You
Mm-hmm.
just look a little different. That's all. But I could tell even from friends I had compared to my girlfriend who wasn't born here, the way she acts and was brought up is very different. Um, if you're born here and raised here, and you go to, I think the biggest factor is probably your schooling,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how kids grow up.
Develop personalities.
So you're a product of your friends, and if you're friends with all regular American kids of every color, you're gonna act just like them. You're not gonna have the same family value. I mean, you'll have some, especially if you have strict parents, like a lot of Asian parents tend to be. But you're gonna grow up a lot different than someone who was born outside of the United States will, because life's just different for them. The after school activities are different. The relationships are different. The friendships are different. It's, from what I understand, from what I hear from my girlfriend who experienced it, it's very different.
I agree on all of that. So, how do my ideals fit into that culture? Why do I end up?
Your personality fits into that culture, which, I mean, I guess is,
What's
one
my
easier way
personality
of
that fits
saying
into that culture?
the way, from my perspective, what you've told me, and what I've gathered based on the relationships you've had, you are more committed to a relationship than normal American Caucasian guys tend to be.
Hmm.
And I don't mean just committed as in like I'm loyal. Like, yeah, that's it. I'm committed. I mean like you prioritize them higher than a normal person would.
Hmm.
Not I shouldn't say normal person because that's really not the right terminology, but a regular 18 to 25, 26-year old white guy would prioritize their significant other. And I think based on what I understand in Asian relationships is that and this is from personal experience, you have to prioritize over everything but family, you know? Like, it doesn't matter if you're dating a year or 1 month, your significant other comes first now that you're dating over your friends,
That's
over
very interesting.
everything else. And it's something that I had to learn. I still have trouble with it sometimes and it causes issues, but
That you aren't prioritizing her appropriately.
yeah, it's I had to learn because for me, my friends were always my biggest priority. You know, I'm not including family.
Mm-hmm.
Family is obviously family over everything. I do believe that, but I think it wasn't myself. It wasn't chasing any dreams or money or items or whatever it may be. It was spending time with my friends was the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like personal happiness, and then it was schooling, and then it was sports. So
So, within the context of your relationship, do you think that you needed to become more caring?
yeah, for sure.
That's very interesting because I'm the exact opposite way. I needed to become less caring.
Yeah, and I think in an Asian relationship, you have the proper amount of caring.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, I think it's
What was your girlfriend born here?
no,
When did she move here?
5.
Okay, so for the most part, she was raised here, though.
Yeah, but she came here not speaking English.
Oh no, I don't mean that. I don't mean like a language barrier. I mean she went to school here. Does she have siblings?
Yes, her general values are American, but if you spent an hour with her, you could tell that she was not born here.
Okay. Yeah, I think being brought up here for like schooling and stuff is the biggest indicator
Mm-hmm.
because you're spending 8 to 9 hours a day with friends. That's like you know that's who you become is who you make friends with.
It's been a transition for me recently because I have developed there's only 3 things in my life right now. If it doesn't fit into those 3 things, I honestly don't want to deal with it. Myself, which could go into mental health, eating appropriately, exercise. If you want to break it down, if you want to go that far, that's fine. But myself, that's number 1 for the first time ever, for the first time in 23 years. My relationships, which goes into family, friends, girlfriend, and work, which obviously very fun. If I take care of all those 3 things in a day, I'm just going to jerk off and play video games for the rest of the day. Because that translates back to what's
I wouldn't
best.
do that first.
I mean, that's how I start my day. That translates back to what's best for me. So that's very interesting that we're so opposite on the spectrum because I definitely had to learn how to become less caring.
Well, I don't think it's an opposite. It's not like I was unsympathetic, didn't care at all. I just had to put in a little more effort.
I've talked to your
It was
ex-girlfriends.
definitely different.
Come on.
No, you haven't. That's not true. You're gonna lie on video like that?
And at this point you're going to tell me that you weren't about to be a father too.
Yeah, I wasn't. Never would.
Never would be a father.
I mean, any asshole would be a father.
Fair enough. All right, winding down. Just a few more things.
Yeah, it's dinner time.
Are you gonna watch the Super Bowl?
Yes, I have money involved. No, I'll casually watch it. I did. We did a $200 box. I got some pretty good numbers actually. If you want to hear them.
Yeah, go ahead. The interesting thing about, by the way, you can talk about gambling as long as there's like, you can say I won $100,000 or something. No one can prove it.
That's true. Okay, so there's a $200 box and there's 4 pools. And like the money's all divided up in different pools. So the first pool is winner take all. I
Mm-hmm.
have Chiefs 6, 49ers 1. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Wait, what?
So if the Chiefs have a number that ends in 6 and the 49ers have a number that ends in 1.
That's just a general box. Wait, did you say this is after a certain quarter?
Well, so the first pool is winner take all. There's 4 different pools.
Okay.
But they all use the same
31-26 final score. Kyle wins 10 G's.
Yes. Or 21-6.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a high scoring game, I think, right? Anyway, the second pool and the third pool are the same prize amount. It's winner every quarter.
Mhm.
500, 1,500, 1.5. I have Chiefs 8, 49ers 0, and then Chiefs 7, 49ers 7. Pretty good. 8-0 is probably a little less likely, but 7-7 is really good for a quarter.
8-0 is not gonna happen. 7-7. I could see it.
First quarter, second quarter, whenever it might happen.
Yeah.
Seven's probably the best, right? 7-0.
Yeah.
7, 10, 14, 17, 21. Like those are.
Yeah.
And then the last pool is 250, 500, 250, 1,000. I have Chiefs 3, 49ers 9. So for the quarters, I got lucky. And then for the overall 6-1, I'm really hoping for it. That's the big one. Got to win 10K.
I believe in you. You want to close it out with a story, or did you not think of one?
I don't have time for one, so I'll do mine next week. I gotta go eat dinner.
All right. Then we can just call it right there.
You know what it is? My sister's coming over, and we're going to trivia tonight. So
whatever. Blame it on the sister.
Yeah.
If you guys stopped in, if you enjoyed the stream, if you hung around for the Two Broken Escalators podcast, thank you so much. We appreciate the support. We will continue to do it every week. We'll let you guys know through Twitter, Discord, Twitch. I'll let you know on here. Eventually, maybe Reddit or Instagram or fucking Carrier Pigeon. Who knows? We'll find a way to let you know. Typically, they're going to be on Wednesday, but of course, we will keep you guys updated. We appreciate the support so much. Very kind of you to stop in. Kyle?
That's it. Thank you, everyone.
Take it easy, guys.